So the North American Rockwell OV-10, Rockwell were the manufacturers. They've been swallowed up now, as a lot of these specialist aviation companies have. I think it's part of Boeing now, rightly. And you can see that very distinctive paint scheme on the aircraft as well, with the orange tips on it. That is a little nod to its later life. It served in the Luftwaffe as a target towing aircraft. So those clamshell doors at the back were ideal. They could open it up and extend out a target that people would come along and take shots at with their Mauser cannons. But you don't want people taking shots at your aircraft, so you put big orange markers on it to make sure they're shooting at the target and not at you. As I said earlier, the North American Rockwell OV-10 Bronco, it's a turboprop light attack and observation aircraft. Some say it was the CIA that developed it because they needed an aircraft that could fly over the jungles in Vietnam and just soak up all the intelligence that it could, and that was its primary purpose there. But it also went on to serve in Vietnam and then into the Cold War before it ended its operational roles with time in Desert Shield, which was Gulf War I. It's a big aircraft, over 40 feet wingspan, so it could land in a field. It has a very sturdy undercarriage system, so it's quite high, and you want a big undercarriage as well, because you want a big gap between the propeller and the ground when you come into land. So it's quite a high, it's 15 foot in height, and it has 2 Garrett T-76 turboprops on it, and that's developing over 700 shaft horsepower as well. And there you go, you get to see that undercarriage I was talking about. You can see it's quite leggy, we call it, an aircraft that's got big long legs like a model. That's to keep those propeller tips out of digging into the dirt when you're landing on the ground. Now the variant that we see here is what's called the German version, the OV-10B. And it was produced in Germany, as I said, as a target tug. 18 of these aircraft were delivered in the early 70s, and they basically had a big steel cable winch inside the fuselage, and those rear cargo doors were replaced with a big clear dome, and they just attached the target to, it was like a big windsock. You know when you go to an airfield and they've got that windsock? Think of it something like that, and then they just extend that out about 500 to 700 meters away from the aircraft. And traditionally that was used as a target. He's been passionate about aviation, he says, since early boyhood, and he's also a commercial pilot with 5,000 flying hours to his credit, and clearly loves displaying this aircraft, showing the airplane off to its best advantage, and its rugged stall performance. So a stall aircraft is short takeoff and landing. The high wing on it generates a lot of lift. It's got what's called a big chord, so the distance between the front and the back trailing edge of the aircraft and the control surfaces, and that generates a huge amount of, you can see there, that's a very big surface area for a wing. You know, fighters, you'll see them nice and slim, so they can slip through the air. Well, this aircraft was all about generating lift, and also that's what gave it its very extended range. As he comes through, this is his last pass. Fantastic shape. You can see that big glass cone at the back. So a brilliant display from Tony de Boer, the OV-10 Bronco. And really good to see that aircraft here back in Scotland. Hope we see it again. Thanks, Tony.